Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and, of course, the other side. I'm tonight's host, Mr. Mind. Throughout the history of time, people have reported meeting their doppelganger or their exact double. Are we living in multiple parallel realities at the same time? Every so often, do these realities merge? Here is a list of strange but true stories that will have you questioning the nature of reality. They had the exact same outfit. My dad used to wake up around 3 a.m. every single morning for work. Starting at a very early age, I would wake up on my own and wander downstairs to see him before he left. One morning, when I was about 4 years old, I made it to the bottom of the stairs and noticed that the front door was ajar. I opened it up and saw my father in his favorite work shirt making his way down the driveway to his truck in his typical work outfit, plaid shirt and Dickies. I swung the door open wide and yelled for him to come back for a hug before he left. He slowly turned around and just looked at me and started walking back towards the house. He was looking so strangely at me that it started to scare me, and I began crying and asking what was wrong. Just as he had almost reached me, a pair of arms encircled me from behind in a bear hug. I turned my head to see my understandably freaked out father staring at his doppelganger in the exact same outfit. The doppelganger took one look at my father and ran down the driveway. Meanwhile, my dad yanked me in the house and locked the door. Weirdest morning ever. I would not trust my 4-year-old memory of the event if it wasn't also witnessed by my father. He won't really talk about it these days, but my mom has since told me that he called out of work that day, and she spent the rest of the day reassuring him he wasn't a nutcase. She was sitting at the desk. One time, my wife and I were coming back from a dinner night when I opened the door of the house. She was sitting at the computer working, as I usually find her when I get home. Nothing unusual, except she was entering the house with me as well. We went to bed, and I told her that I thought I saw her sitting at the computer, and she goes dead serious and told me that when I opened the door, she also saw herself sitting at the computer working. She looked exactly like me. Years ago, I was out eating dinner at a local Carrabba's restaurant with my mom. The large party table across from ours had a small girl around the age of 4 or 5 who 2 times walked over and called me sissy and wanted to sit on my lap. Now, I didn't think anything of it until her grandmother walked over. She apologized politely but hesitantly and explained that I just so happened to resemble the girl's sister a lot. This woman pulled out a picture of the mentioned girl, and my blood ran cold. Had it not been for the fact that I'd never met this woman in my life, and knowing that I had never posed for this particular picture, even I would have sworn it was a picture of me. Every minute detail of her face was exactly like mine, the exact same. That wasn't my stepbrother. So this happened about 5 years ago. Brother 16 and 12, and I was 13. We were all in our basement alone one afternoon, taking turns playing Skyrim. We were just messing around when out of nowhere, our stepbrother, who was 16 at the time, peeks around the corner of the stairwell right behind us and says, "Hi," and screeches before disappearing. We thought nothing of it until we remembered that he was visiting his grandparents 5 hours away. A few days later, when he came back, we confronted him about it, and he had no clue what we were talking about. It was super weird. And to this day, I still can't explain it. That wasn't my father. I remember one Sunday morning, my brother and I were watching Card Captors on TV, and someone knocks on the door. We lived in an apartment that was empty. The owner hadn't rented the second floor. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, a kitchen and a bathroom by the door. A small apartment, but with a big window that faces out to the door. So when I heard someone knock, I checked the window and I saw that it was my father. So I thought. And I was going to open the door when my mother stopped me and screams at me. She says, "You don't know who's at the door." I told her, "I see my dad." She freaks out, goes to the window and checks, and then checks again, and then checks the peephole. She started to get terrified, and she says to go to the farthest room in the apartment and to not come out. She goes and wakes up my dad. My dad gets angry and confused. We told him what we saw, and the man was still knocking at the door. So my dad screams, "Who is it?" No answer. He said, "We'll call the cops," and all the regular threats, but nothing. We saw while my dad was busy screaming at him that he was just standing still right in front of the door. So my mom took us to the farthest room from the door while my dad goes and grabs a metal bat. Once my father goes to open the door, the man was gone. My dad goes out looking everywhere around the apartment. Nothing. The apartment door was a heavy metal door and was always heard when someone comes in or out. But we heard nothing that entire morning. We heard no footsteps and no one saw him leave. My father, my brother, my mother, and I all saw a man that looked exactly like my father. This has been another strange but true story, narrated by your friend, Mr. Mind. If you have a story of your own, we would love to hear it. Please send us an email at strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we plan on giving you even more stories every single week. This is your host, Mr. Mind, and keep pondering.